So when you're trying to figure out which company is actually doing a better job, what do you look at? Sales? Profits? Sometimes the most obvious numbers can tell a completely misleading story. Today, we're going to see how one simple piece of data can totally change our understanding of a company's performance. And we're going to use the world of appliance manufacturing to show you how. Let's dive in.
All right, to really get this, let's imagine a scenario. We've got two huge players in the home appliance game. We'll call them Appliance Co. and Home Goods Incorporated. Both of them make pretty much everything, from your toaster to your washing machine. And our big question is, which one makes safer products?
Okay, so we pull up their safety records for the year. First, we see Appliance Co. recalled 50,000 units. Yikes, not great. But then we look at Home Good Inc. and, whoa, they recalled 200,000 units. That is 4 times as many. At first glance, this seems like an open and shut case.
So, let me just ask you, which company seems to have a better handle on product safety? The answer feels totally obvious, doesn't it? It's got to be Appliance Co. But is it really that simple?
What if looking only at that big, scary recall number is like judging a baseball player by only counting their strikeouts, without even knowing how many times they went up to bat? Yeah, we're missing a massive piece of the puzzle here.
So how do we find that missing piece? Well, luckily, the solution is in these standardized frameworks. They're created by organizations that exist to solve exactly this kind of problem. They basically create a common language for businesses so we can finally make a fair, apples-to-apples comparison.
And one of the most important of these frameworks comes from the SASB standards. Just think of them as a rulebook for how companies report on stuff like safety and their environmental impact. The whole point is to create industry-specific rules so that everyone's playing by the same rules, giving us a clear and comparable picture. These standards are built on 5 pretty logical steps. They start with describing an industry, and they end with these very specific technical protocols. But for our story, the real magic, the key that unlocks this whole puzzle, is right there in Step 5, activity metrics.
All right, so let's apply this directly to the appliance industry and see what these companies actually have to report. According to the SASB standard, if you're making household appliances, there are very specific things you have to disclose to give a full picture of your business.
The standard really boils it down to 2 main topics. First up is product safety. That's where you find things like recalls and legal stuff. The second is about product lifecycle environmental impacts, which covers things like energy efficiency and recycling. For our tale of 2 companies, we're laser-focused on that first one, product safety.
And believe me, this isn't just about numbers on a page. The source material puts the stakes very bluntly. A malfunctioning appliance can be a really serious hazard. It's a powerful reminder of why getting this comparison right is so important.
So, let's get back to that key we found a minute ago, the activity metric. This is what's going to let us normalize the data. It helps us put everything on a level playing field so we can finally unlock the real story hidden in those numbers.
So what is an activity metric anyway? Well, simply put, it's a number that measures the sheer scale of a company's business. It's not about dollars, it's about output. How much stuff are they actually making? How big is their operation really? This gives us the context we've been missing all along. And for the appliance manufacturing industry, the standard points to one single crucial activity metric: the total number of units produced in a year. The standard even gets more specific, saying this number should be broken down by category, like small appliances versus major ones, to make comparisons even more accurate. Okay, remember this chart? This was our first totally misleading view of the situation. Appliance Co. with 50,000 recalls and Home Good Inc. with that gigantic 200,000. It looked like Home Good Inc. was the clear loser here. Now, let's add our activity metric. So it turns out Appliance Co. produced 1 million units last year. That's a lot. But Home Good Inc., they're a massive operation. They produced 20 million units in the same amount of time. They're literally 20 times bigger than Appliance Co. And this is the moment where the entire story just flips on its head. When we normalize the data, when we calculate the number of recalls per million units produced, the truth comes out. Appliance Co. actually has a recall rate of 50 units for every million they make. Home Good Inc., the company that looked so bad before, only has a rate of 10. On a per-unit basis, they are 5 times safer. This is the incredible power of normalization. It's the same exact logic we use for so many other things. You don't judge a car's safety by the total number of accidents it's been in. You look at the rate of accidents per million miles driven. It's the only way to get a fair comparison. It just makes sense.
So, we've seen how one little number, annual production, completely changed our conclusion. But why does this one metric matter so much in the real world? I mean, what's the bigger impact here?
Well, the impact is huge. If you're an investor, it means you can make way smarter decisions. For companies, it means you're being held accountable for your performance relative to your size. And honestly, for all of us, it means we can look past a scary headline and actually find the real story.
So the next time you see a headline with a big, jaw-dropping number, it's worth asking yourself, what's the one number, that key piece of context that we might be missing? What's the real story hiding just beneath the surface?